Alright, we back with another NBA player build video. Today's Larry Bird. It's going to be an absolute banger of a build. If you look on the left-hand side, we got small forward, 6'9", 220, and 6'10". These are the exact attributes that Larry Bird has when he played in the NBA. So he hovered around 220. He was 6'9" with a 6'10" wingspan that has been measured, and he usually played small forward. Well, in the beginning of the career, he did play power forward, but we'll just hop right in to the build. You guys can see the entire build right here. It's a 99 overall. I'm going to move my face cam for a second. Alright, so looking at the build here now, I'm going to go through every single attribute I have increased or decreased and just explain exactly why I have them at that specific attribute. You're going to get silver float game, silver hook specialist, as well as bronze paint prodigy. You only need 2 more close shot to get up to silver paint prodigy, but in this case, Larry Bird isn't going to be super in the paint. He's obviously does need to be available to be a viable player in the paint, which is why he has an 82 close shot. And also it links to the mid-range shot because I wanted to get gold deadeye. If you have a 92 mid-range, you get gold deadeye. If you lower your close shot at all, you're going to be not at a 92 mid-range, it'll be actually at 91. So close shot is kind of just linked to mid-range shot, and we want to make sure we have gold shooting badges across the board. Now looking at driving layup, we have an 80 driving layup. This is the sweet spot, as I've said in previous videos. You're going to be able to make contested layups and stuff. You're still going to have silver physical finisher. You're going to have bronze layup mixed master. It's a solid layup rating to have. Now driving dunk, he does have 73 driving dunk. Larry Bird could obviously dunk sometimes. He's not known for it at all, which is why I didn't really worry about it in making this build. Bronze posterizer, you do get that. You get a bunch of park dunks as well, so it's going to be very, very easy. You also have a 50 standing dunk, which unlocks the 2 normal standing dunks with 2 hands and 1 hand. You unlock both of those with this 50 standing dunk, so it's super nice to have, at least especially on a 6'9" player, which is not going to be in the paint a whole bunch though. And 84 post control is very nice. I didn't realize it was so easy to get Hall of Fame post fade phenom. This Larry Bird will get that badge just stock without cap breakers or anything like that, so make sure you take advantage of that. This build will be decent in the post. It has silver post badges across the board along with silver unpluckable. So the 84 post control is actually very helpful. I would recommend putting this on your Larry Bird build if you want to play like Larry Bird, because Larry Bird did play out of the post quite a bit. Now for this build for 6'9", 6'10" wingspan, these are the maximum shooting ratings that you can have. 93 pointer will give you deep bomber takeover. If you look down here at the takeover, deep bomber, you get at a 93 point rating. So you're going to have deep bomber takeover on this Larry Bird build, which is obviously something that you do want. You're going to have 92 mid range, which I mentioned earlier in the video, because 92 mid range gives you that gold deadeye, which is a very nice badge to have. You also get gold other shooting badges like set shot specialist as well as shifty shooter, both on gold. So unfortunately it's impossible for you to get Hall of Fame stock as this build was 6'9" and 6'10" wingspan. If you did make the wingspan down to 6'9", you could try and manipulate your way to get a 94 mid-range as the maximum. You could get up to 90, 93 and then get Hall of Fame set shot specialist just to start with your build. For building a Larry Bird build, I did want to make sure it was the exact frame, and for all my NBA player builds I'm going to be doing, I want to make sure they are as close as we can get in 2K to their actual frame that they played in the NBA with. I do also want to make them competitive 2K builds, so if you see something that doesn't really match up with what you think about Larry Bird, that's the reason I want to make sure it's a viable build that you can play with on 2K26. We also have a 93 pointer, kind of already mentioned that. You get silver limitless, you also get deep bomber takeover, which is the main reason we have it there. 81 free throw, obviously it doesn't have any badges associated with that, but 81 free throw, you're going to be knocking them down. You can throw on that Larry Bird free throw. It kind of helps with the immersion when you're using a player like a NBA player to throw on their free throw when you're playing in the rec. Looking at pass accuracy, I would love to get this up to 85. The only things you really do unlock by getting it to 85 are bronze bailout and LeBron James passing style, which are two like super, they're not very important items in my opinion for what you need to do on this build. What I am going to say though about this build is that 84 pass accuracy is very, very nice. Larry Bird was a great passer, and definitely not as good as Magic Johnson, who's my previous build video. Put it up in the card in the top right if you want that one. He's definitely not as good as Magic, but he's definitely a super, super solid passer that a lot of people don't really know that about him. So you get gold versatile visionary, you get gold dimer, and you get silver break starter. So if you did want to use cap breakers on this build, which there aren't really many spots to put cap breakers as I'm looking at it right now, pass accuracy would not be a bad spot to do. You get 1 cap breaker on that, get up to 85 pass accuracy, and then you get that bronze bailout and that LeBron James passing style if you do want that on your player. So now looking at ball handle, 80 ball handles maximum on this build. You're going to be dribbling as well as you really can on a 6'9" build, which is, you also get a gold strong handle, which I love. If you're able to get a strong handle badge, gold is what you're going to want to do there. Gold is a super nice strong handle badge. You can spin off players, you can do behind the backs on them. It kind of just brushes players off you, which is super nice. We also have a 70 speed with ball. If you go a little bit lower than this, you wouldn't unlock some of the best dribble styles, and I wanted to make sure we actually got some decent dribble styles on this 6'9" Larry Bird build. You also get bronze lightning launch. Unfortunately, it's impossible for a 6'9" player to get a silver lightning launch just stock, so you need to make sure that you have this at 70, get your bronze lightning launch, as well as a bunch of animations that will be good to use on the build. Now looking at interior defense, this is a bit low in my opinion for Larry Bird, but this build isn't going to really be playing defense in the paint. You're going to be mainly playing on the perimeter, which is why I have an 82 perimeter defense. As a small forward, you'll kind of be all around. You're going to have a much easier time of playing with this build in the perimeter because you're going to have an 82 perimeter defense, which is actually silver challenger. Larry Bird wasn't really known as a great defender, so these attributes are just kind of not great to get for him. One thing I do want to say about the steal is the 79 steal will get you silver glove. That's why I have it there. And Larry Bird actually was great at steals. He averaged like over 1.5 for most of his season. Sometimes he averaged 2 steals a season. So he was obviously really good at like picking pockets and reading lanes and stuff. So you're going to get silver interceptor, silver glove. Can't get any higher of either of those badges just on looking at the build here with the 6'9" frame and the 6'10" wingspan. Now the block is really low. That's like the main weakness of the build. If you're not going to be blocking shots with this Larry Bird build, but Larry Bird in itself, he was never really blocking shots. If you watch any of his tape, he was always stealing the ball if he was playing anything on defense. We're also going to give him an 80 defensive rebound, which gives you a silver rebound chaser. So you want to make sure you have that at 80, 70 offensive rebound. You don't want to make sure your offensive rebound is up to par compared to your defensive because it'll just help you out tremendously. Like if you can time your rebounds, you'll actually be able to get offensive rebounds at the rating of 70. Now looking at speed, agility, strength, and vertical, they aren't great. You're going to be below 80 in speed and agility, which you can use cap breakers to get up because like I said, this build doesn't have a whole bunch of cap breaking opportunities that are genuinely valuable. You might be able to throw some cap breakers on driving dunk to get it up a bit, but in this case, this build is going to be 78 speed, 77 agility, 73 strength, purely for getting gold strong handle. And then you're also going to have a 70 vertical, which is very solid. 70 vertical will allow you to get that silver pogo stick, as you can see down there in the bottom. 70 vertical is good. It's a good all-around attribute. This year, they improved the effectiveness of vertical. It's an important attribute that you need to have on your players. I haven't actually seen who the comparisons are yet. I never do. I just want to see it live with you guys. So I'm going to move my camera over to the right side of the screen. All right, and we are going to load it in. So I will hit start. We're going to load in the attributes. Please give me Larry Bird, Chuck Person, Chris Mullin, and Larry Bird 83-84 Celtics. Diamond 3-level score. Sounds like Larry Bird to me. He is going to be a post-fade phenom, deadeye, and shifty shooter. If you look here at the top, it's going to have Hall of Fame post-fade phenom as well as shifty shooter and deadeye. He's a mid-range sniper, drops bombs off the catch. Limited range on block attempts is the weakness. That is the main weakness of this build, is the block ability. It really doesn't have much block ability at all. Nice thing about it is the post control and the shooting though, because as Larry Bird on offense, he was a menace in the post. He backed down the smaller players and he was a great shooter. So you're going to be able to spark threes with this build. You're going to be able to shoot fadeaways. You're going to be able to play on offense super well and super like Larry Bird. Defense isn't as great. Rebounding is pretty solid. And looking at the rest of the build, I am going to go over this in most of my future build videos. I want to advance and actually see exactly what the cap breakers on this build potential is. You can actually get your driving dunk pretty well upgraded with it upgrading 5, 4, 4, 3, 3. So getting up from 73 driving dunk, if you use 5 cap breakers on this, you can get up 9 to 82, then 86, 89, you can get up to a 92 driving dunk on your Larry Bird build with 5 cap breakers. That is absolutely absurd. That is an unheard of, like that is actually so valuable to do. So if you have 5 cap breakers, throw them on the Larry Bird build, 92 driving dunk, super valuable. Now looking at defense, there's not really anything worth putting cap breakers into. Defensive rebound as well. So the physicals will only give you 1 as well. You can upgrade your vertical a decent amount. So once you get up to 92, if you have more cap breakers than 5, you can definitely use your vertical cap breakers and you can get your vertical up to 83 on this build, which is nothing to scoff at. I believe you can get really good contact dunks with 82 vertical. So 92 driving dunk and 82 vertical if you did max out 10 cap breakers on this build. It's super valuable. If you are using cap breakers at all on this build, make sure you throw them on driving dunk, and you can definitely throw 1 on the pass accuracy to unlock bailout and the LeBron James passing style if you do care about that. But cap breakers, they're kind of throwing them out right now. I am going to have 5 starting tomorrow, which is literally 7 days into 2K26. So make sure you guys get your cap breakers, throw them on the driving dunk for this build. It's going to be super valuable. And then I will link a Larry Bird face scan at the end of this video. But that is going to wrap it up for me today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and like, and I'm signing off for now.